Hello, Internet. I'm me. Yes, whether you like it or not, I'm me, motherfucker. Anywho, welcome to Gokaiger episode 27. Yeah. And guess what? It's filler time. Oh, yes. It's one of those episodes that don't really matter whatsoever. And I'm okay with that, at least for this episode. Even though it's not as good as the other filler episodes, I really had wished this episode could have been scrapped altogether and just held off for more important events, or at least another inevitable two-parter. So what's going on in this one? Well, Luca and Dawn get their bodies switched. It is a funny occasion, and all fun is to be had. Woo! But it's a filler episode. Do you really give a crap? The story isn't advanced, the characters are kind of fleshed out, but you could care less. It's another pretty much look at Dawn screw up episode. And it's... You could tell this one was made quickly. Very quickly. Not much of the... Whenever you're watching Super Sentai, you really feel like, sure, you're in Japan, but not in Japan, sort of. But this time they actually did a lot of filming inside, like, the city, or like on a offshoot town. So you had actual people, and I think some extras, or just normal people who just walked on set, watching the filming happen, and just kind of going, what the hell? So, you have a lot of that. You actually have more of a human presence, more of a actual people presence there. So that was a nice little change, but it didn't seem to fit with me and my how I feel with Super Sentai or even Kamen Rider, where Kamen Rider, that's more of Kamen Rider's thing with the whole people, even though the Kamen Rider rarely has people act like people. It's more of a soap opera. But anyway, I'm going to get back to that later. Don't worry about it. But anywho, let's get back on this Super Sentai episode. A lot of funny things happened here. Joe gropes himself, aka Luca. When they switch bodies, Joe cops deal. Good job. Joe pulls up when he's Gokai Yellow, he actually pulls up Gokai's yellow skirt because he's not used to moving that way. He's not used to moving with the skirt, so he just kind of pulls it up, and you get a perfect ass shot of Gokai Yellow. And I'm just like, please be a woman under that, under the suit. Please let that be a stunt woman, because then I just had a great ass shot. If it's a guy, oh crap. You have a nice house. But, yeah, that's pretty much the whole episode for you right there. They switch bodies. They learn about each other. They learn that one's not as bad as the other one thinks. And they learn to appreciate each other just a little bit more. And we move on with our lives. Except for... So, really, if I had to give a rating for this one, which I always do, this would be more of an 8 out of 10. The fight scenes weren't very good. Again, I said this felt like it was quickly shot, put together, and then said, it's a filler episode. It's a filler. Because in the fight scenes, especially the fight scenes, you have this... In a fight scene, you have to stage a fight. In most fight scenes, you do not usually hit the other person. You miss by about, this far. You just swing and I react. And usually you use camera work, sound effects, and pretty much anything else, anything you can really do to hide the fact that you're not hitting the other person. But in the first fight scene and the ending fight scene, you can clearly tell none of the stuntmen are hitting the other stuntmen. Like where a good example is when Gokai Pink has her fight as Flashman, when they go into Flashman form, and you start to see like she's kicking the ground, she's doing a sweep kick and kicking around, but the henchmen are getting hit without her touching them. And they use the special effects and flares and crap to try to distract you from it. But if you just kind of look past her foot. Don't concentrate on her foot, but look at the actual enemy she's trying to hit. They're just jumping around way before they hit. And that is a no to me. That is like, you guys just slapped this together. You couldn't even get the actors to, or the cameraman to just go, all right, can't come in and just angle it a little different so it looks like she hit him. And also, like, during the fight scene, you'll actually see like swings come like this close, and then, oh, I got hit, and you're like, no, you didn't. But the sound effects and all that still play like it did, and try to play it off. These are minor complaints, but as a stuntman, these really get on my nerves, especially when I see them in movies or shows. Like if you ever watch Onbach, you actually see before every character gets hit, especially when they go for the slow motion shots. Right before the characters get hit, the person who's about to get hit pulls his arms down and pushes his chest forward, and then he gets hit. And there's a padding there, so not to say that that's bad. It's just gets on my nerves. I notice it. I don't know if you do, but you can see it in there. And yeah, 8 out of 10. Not much else to talk about this. Now, what I am going to talk about now is the Kamen Rider O's final episode. Yes, I, as Super Sentai reviewer, have mentioned Kamen Rider, and not in a versus. Kamen Rider O's I have actually been secretly keeping up with while watching Gokaiger due to the fact that, well, it comes on superhero time. So, yeah, they're paired back to back. I can't watch one without the other, or at least not knowing about the other. And I actually like this. I really did like Kamen Rider O's. Kamen Rider O's was actually the first Kamen Rider I watched as it went along. I watched Kamen Rider W, Kamen Rider Decade, and other Kamen Riders like Fonz and others that I don't really remember. But I'm gonna get hate for that. But yeah, Kamen Rider O's is the one that really got me into Kamen Rider. So I'm watching it, and spoiler, and I'm gonna give you guys the link for the final Kamen Rider episode, subbed and all. You're welcome. In the description below, so don't worry about it. Don't piss your pants, and do not care if I say spoilers, because you're gonna see it for yourself anyway. So, spoilers. Kamen Rider O's ends with a huge bang, but at the end, I'm gonna tell you. In the end, Anku dies, Uva dies, Maki dies, Eiji. I'm gonna leave that one for you. And, of course, there is a ending. I know a lot of people have heard the speculations of that Kamen Rider O's is going to end on a cliffhanger so that in the Kamen Rider Wars movie, they can come and end it. I am happy to say there is no cliffhanger. If you haven't heard from those spoilers before, there is no cliffhanger. So, you can actually rest easy that knowing that this is a brilliantly done and beautifully done Kamen Rider final episode, actually. It could have gone to 49 episodes instead of 48, making the ending a little longer for my taste, but I feel like that would have overdone it. Because, honestly, in my opinion, I know people are going to probably cut my balls off for this, but in my opinion, the Kamen Rider fight scenes are nowhere near Super Sentai fight scenes because they try to go for a more realistic fight scene. So the fights aren't as spectacular, but they are more epic in grandeur. So, saying that, this last battle is a really grandeur-esque last battle. Cities are being destroyed, sorta. People are being killed, again, sorta. And the one thing I really don't like about this episode, or the final episode, the one thing, only one thing, is that in Kamen Rider, or at least in the new ones, you don't really get to see many henchmen, or at least in Kamen Rider O's. You didn't get many henchmen, you got greeds, or yummies. So you had, like, it would be like Super Sentai if you didn't have all the little henchmen, but just the main dude. So you had that guy that you fought for like 2 or 1 episodes, or even 3 if you were lucky. So when they actually start to introduce or try to use henchmen, it comes off as pretty silly for me for even Kamen Rider standpoints because they end up blowing through them like they're nothing. I mean, and somehow both of the births get all, and Hino, I think, get all of the henchmen piled up and then blow them up. I didn't understand that. I was like, how do you get them all in a pile? Whatever, I don't care. But yes, the episode ends beautifully. You will kind of cry if you loved Anka. Anka, you really feel for his death. I'm not going to tell you what happens with the core medals, though. I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to figure it out on your own. And I'm not going to tell you anything else other than that. But I am going to say this. Kamen Rider Forzen. I'll be reviewing it. For now, I'm going to reserve my judgments. But I will tell you one thing. I think the costume looks completely ridiculous. And I've watched all of the Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. And I think it looks ridiculous. Let that one sink in for you. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, which next time for Super Sentai is going to be the actual Jetman tribute, and you're gonna get the Black Condor, who, if you've ever actually watched Jetman or heard of Jetman or read up on Jetman, you've realized Black Condor dies at the end of the Jetman series or season. And I've heard rumors like the heavens are going to bring him back and give him back his morpher so he can live again for like one day and, you know, help fight. And I've heard a whole bunch of rumors, but I don't know anything concrete, and I'll tell you guys when I get it. And for Kamen Rider Forzen, from what I understand, I'm going to be reviewing that, and yeah, it's going to be on a separate, I don't know if I'm going to go for a separate video or just combine it with the rest of the Super Sentai. I might do it, might not. Depends on if I actually get the videos back. If I get the videos back, then I'm doing separate. If not, crammed. Anywho, that's enough rambling for me. See you guys next time on when we go into Gokaiger episode 28 and Kamen Rider Forzen episode 1. See you guys then.